Oh, baby, we're back once again. We're back once again, both on YouTube and on Twitter right now, or X, or whatever the hell you want to call it. There's plenty to discuss because traditional markets are having an actual crash. Bitcoin not following, at least not yet, which is incredibly interesting, at least to me. Maybe I'm just a complete nerd. In fact, I am. But I do think that it is rather interesting that we see NASDAQ here. We see all of the major indices, SPY, Indus, all of these sort of things are having like real downside moves to continuing to new lows in the past 48 hours over the past couple of days. And Bitcoin really has not even made a new low. It hasn't even really tested the prior lows, which is incredibly strange. We just don't see that happen too often. But as always, I'm very, 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 very hesitant to call a decoupling between crypto, or Bitcoin, I should say, and traditional markets, just because these things don't necessarily operate on like a 24-hour basis. Really needs to be looked at within the context of a more long-running trend, essentially. So I still think it's a little bit premature to say anything like that, but it is good to see a lot of familiar faces in here. As always, Shibanachi, Matthias Van Duysen. Duysen, is that right? Definitely Dutch, by the way. What's up, Nikki Page? Matthew Smead, good morning to you as well, sir. We have Bear Nutrition, good friend as well. Madge. William Wallace is in here. Freedom! Fuck yeah, man. Let's get some freedom action going on. Erica Krown Nano Cave says, we're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore, Mr. President. It's too much. That's right. And let's just all make a note to say thank you today. Let's all say thank you. We haven't said it once since we've been here, and it's time to say thank you as the markets come down even harder. But all jokes aside, this is the intended effect from those economic policies that have been enacted, and so far, that you expect things to go down when that happens. The idea is to crash the fucking markets, bring bond rates down, and then maybe when the stars align, you can start all of the upwards momentum fueling sort of policies that I think a lot of people are looking forwards to. But we'll see if it works out. I'm still very open-minded towards this whole plan working out or not. I think it's way too early to be judging this one as of now, but I do think that Trump is he's not cutting himself too many favors right now, because he needs this to happen relatively fast, and I think that this is going to happen probably slower. Realistically, the debt issue that the U.S. built itself into was over the course of multiple decades. Do you think that we're just going to get out of this within 2 months of price action? Just intuitively, I would think not, but I'm certainly not an economic expert. To be honest, I don't think that anyone really is, because it's just too fucking complicated. But yeah, several people on Twitter will tell you otherwise, that they know what's best, and fair enough, maybe they do. But I do think that a lot of it is a guessing game. There's just too many fucking variables when it comes to looking at the overall economy that make it just it's too confounding. There's too many things going on. No one fucking knows what the hell is going on, to be honest. Anyways, nobody knows what's going to happen. So Zeltima, indeed, least of all me. For fuck's sake, the market can go up and down, and it can go sideways. Of course, we can never know exactly what's going to happen, but we can come up with probabilistic scenarios, and that's really all that it is. All that it comes down to. Anyways, I've been getting a lot of questions, or I haven't been getting a lot of questions, but Elsa's been getting a lot of questions regarding the quantum wave bands over here, and there seems to be maybe some miscommunication, or just maybe mishearing, in that the price increase that we're going to be having from $70 to $90 will be happening at the end of this month. That will come with a couple of upgrades. We're going to be adding some trend trading strategies. Plus, we're going to be enacting a dedicated Discord channel for this for the users of this. But again, that's coming literally at the end of this month. So when April ends and May begins, that's when it happens. And of course, anyone who gets into it right now, even with a free trial, by the way, can be grandfathered into that lower price and still get all of those future benefits. The code, once again, is trial in all capitals, and there you go. In fact, you can see yesterday's trade closing at, it looks like, a very small loss right here. It looks like I was right yesterday to say, hey, I think you should close it right now, when it was trading right around here, because this one looks like it wants to go a little bit lower. But overall, it's been quite consistent even through these more tumultuous times, and had actually some pretty decent trades, some pretty decent scalps here over the past over this past week. Anyways, as this week does close come to a close, I do want to be focusing on very high term timeframes, like the weekly timeframe, specifically for CME, because I do think that it has a lot of significance for where things close today. If things close in a certain manner today, I would actually, I think I actually would start to adopt the idea that maybe we actually are seeing a decoupling. But until we see what we're going to go over a little bit later, I would still remain hesitant to say that. It just hasn't been the right thing to do, despite how many times in even the past few years where we said, oh shit, crypto went up today and stocks went down, or vice versa. And maybe it's decoupling, but it never really materializes. Anyways, Big Boy George says price action is all over the place like a mad lady shit. I mean, in traditional markets, yes, although it is generally going down, but in Bitcoin land, it's been sideways, honestly. Not really much going on unless you're on the very, very low term timeframes. I can see you over here on Twitter as well. This is awesome. I'm really, really excited to bring the Twitter people into this. We got Hollow Rage, 1958, Aristotle. Holy shit, it's Aristotle. I love your work, by the way. You're very smart. Give me blood and fear. Hamberlin, good morning to you as well, sir. Tyler the OG says it's Trump's fault again. Lol, it's Trump's fault. I mean, again, I think that this was all intended to happen in this way. It's the real question is, does it actually reverse course and work out in the long run in the way that he's looking for? Because this response has been, I mean, I think most people anticipated this, that it's going to be a bit of a difficult time in the near term, but the idea is to have some pain in the short term and then some prosperity in the long term. We'll see if it works out. Again, I'm very open-minded to this. I think it's way too early to be judging these things as of right now. We really need, multiple years. But like I said, I have my own skepticism with it. I don't think there's going to be enough time, honestly, which can be very fucking bad. Anyways, let's see what else we got. I see FOMO Sapien says, sold all my crypto for a giant crack rock. Well, that's one addiction for another addiction. I don't know if it's a healthier addiction, but it's not worse, at least. So there's that. When the U.S. talks about freedom and liberation, the opposite happens. Well, depending upon what side that you're on. Yeah, it is a pretty popular time right now to hate Americans, especially worldwide. I can definitely feel it here as a foreigner in Finland. Like whenever people kind of recognize that I'm American, they're already not that friendly to begin with, to be honest. But what? Elsa, yes, and that's right. Finland actually came out recently in their newspaper and said, we're sorry, but we're the most racist country, and we have a real problem. I can fucking assure you, as a foreigner living in Finland, and they don't even consider me white for whatever reason, they are the least fucking racist place of all time. It's actually retarded, this sort of idea that continues to go on. But it's plaguing many places in Europe, and, well, we'll see what happens there. Anyways, there is no hope, just a fool's hope. A fool's hope is better than no hope indeed. At least that's what I would think. That's the main message of Lord of the Rings, by the way, is to always hold on to hope, even if it seems like it is completely 100% against you. You still got to fucking try anyways. You still have to try. Otherwise, what's the point of living? What's the point of even being around? You're just a fat also ran doing absolutely nothing, sitting on your bungus and drinking your pingus. Like that's what's going on here. Anyways, real estate 100% goes up with time without traders. In general, yes, but as far as real estate tracking ETFs, I would have to say that is not true in the short term here. We can see XHB representing home builders in the US. We called a top on this one way back, or actually no, not way back. This was back in January. I'll still be remaining with this top call, and I do think that this one does come further down before it bases, probably somewhere around 85 to somewhere around $85 seems about right to me. But the interesting thing about this is something that I think an idea that Jason Pizzino has really popularized with the 18-spot 6-year real estate cycle, in that typically when we've seen this cycle play out, it ends first with real estate, and then that spills on over into traditional markets. But there is a lag effect, usually somewhere between like 1 to 2 years, somewhere within that time frame, which is a pretty fucking wide time frame, obviously. And seeing as this one did top in October of 2024, I mean, is it too premature to say that traditional markets have done the same thing? Well, we'd certainly have a top. That's for fucking sure. And I think that this is going to take a while to really resolve itself, honestly. I could easily see I could easily see these major indices here coming down another 5 to 10%. But for full disclosure, I in my long-term investment accounts, my long-term Vanguard accounts, I have bought an initial position just based off of the fact that this thing's come down more than 15% already. But I am holding the majority of my liquidity for lower. Am I going to be right or wrong in that? I think that the probabilities are in my favor. However, of course, I can be massively wrong about that. And if so, I just buy a little bit higher. That's fine. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to make money. I'm here also not to fucking lose money. And one of the things that I definitely do not like doing is buying a falling knife. And this is a falling knife as of right now, although maybe we have another local low in the making here. But the thing is that this down cycle has been so orderly thus far that it makes me consider that the real low is still yet to be seen. So, does traditional market set up for a nice bounce here? And then roll over lower. I'm kind of that opinion right now. You even see a bit of a daily death cross going on right here. Not the best signal of all time, but it can give you a good indication of long-term direction. I mean, obviously all bear markets have had that as a characteristic, so you do have to be defensive when that happens, but not necessarily guaranteed that things are going to be headed down for the next year or two, as traditional bear markets typically do. Durian Rambutan, what's up, man? Krown, hello. Which VIX are you using, S&P or Capital.com? Actually, I pretty much never look at VIX on streams, but if I'm going to be looking at VIX on TradingView, I'll just go with this one right here, the TVC. Could you go to SIBO? Yeah, I guess that's a little bit closer to the source, but should be one and the same. And now that I recognize it, maybe I should be looking at it because this is accelerating to the upside very, very, very quickly here. We can even see several higher lows here on the daily. Let's see what the monthly looks like. Yeah, monthly also turning around, and it's hard not to see this thing going a little bit higher. And when volatility rises, it's typically due to fear because, well, what produces the most volatile price action? When do people get the most emotional about things? When they're fucking losing money, of course. We all know this, of course. As it stands. Anyways, I'll check back in over here on Twitter. What's up, monkeymike.ethereum? Jokob, fuck man, I need to figure out a better way to say your name. Bro, it will be instant US domination after tariffs. No, I don't think it's going to be. I'm guessing you're probably memeing right here, but yeah, this issue with the US national debt, that I believe is a real issue. So I agree on the issue, but is this the right way to be handling? I mean, this issue grew over many years. Can we just solve this in 2 months? No, I don't think so. But again, that's just an intuitive answer. I don't know if that's. I don't actually know. That's based off of very, very little. Although I do think that Bitcoin still is another downside try here. Anyways. Feeling like a dom, says Sir Corgan. What kind of a dom, sir? What kind of a dom do you feel like? Whoop-dee-doo, fams, says Mini Bike Larry. What's up, man? Good morning to you as well. The Fireman says, if you DCA all dips in this cycle, you're going to need to sell some plasma. Possibly, yes. I mean, if the market really is turning around here and we are going to see a prolonged sideways and downside market, which I'm very open to. I think that's actually... I mean, I'm very open to. I'll put it that way. Can Bitcoin come down another? I don't know. Can Bitcoin come down another like 30 to 40% if things really do fall out of the March lows? Yeah, definitely possible. But as long as Bitcoin's above those March lows, I'm not gonna get super bearish. Like that is my line in the sand. It's been my line in the sand for a while now. It's 76,700. As long as Bitcoin's above there is hopium. There is hopium for the market putting in a macro low here and moving its way higher, I suppose, around end of year. But until that hopium gets confirmed, or if that hopium gets denied, then it gets denied, and we look much lower. At least I look much lower. I think Bitcoin would be heading down ultimately to like $50,000, give or take a little bit from that number, with bounces along the way. If that were to happen, it's going to take a while, anyways. But that is that would be the triggering event for me, kind of aiming towards something as such. Anyways, Juice says all the U.S. got to do is make a parlay and win and get out of debt, or you know what the U.S. government should really really do is they should just put all of their liquid cash on an account on BitMexico and 100x leverage it to the fucking moon and make it all back in one trade. That's exactly right. Alchemist says, make room for grandma. Grandma now with the attitude forced to move in with the adult. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. Grandmas are getting poor, I suppose. Yeah. When you read history, you realize how bad things can get and how relatively not bad it is right now. But yeah, you know, that certainly is an effect. And fair enough. Sir Corkin says, no, my grandparents are hella dead. Old family, fuck them. Well, fair enough. I guess that's one way to handle the issues as well. You know, everyone has their own method. Jay Cyber on Twitter, good morning to you as well, man. Orlando was indeed great. Me and Elsa and I talk about moving to Florida every fucking day now. I'm just looking for an excuse to move, like literally tomorrow. I don't have it yet. So unfortunately, we'll probably have to wait until 2026. But yeah, man, it's getting more and more enticing by the day. I'll put it that way. William Wall says, Elsa, is there going to be a mini pump today in light of unemployment report and Powell speaking? What say you?
Let me think.
All right, she's thinking. This might take a while, but we'll see. It's 2 a.m. here and still nothing happening. Very, very slow market. Yeah, indeed. I mean, again, you know, for the past like 3 weeks now, Bitcoin has really actually been in quite a tight range. We haven't seen trend. What?
No mini pump. No.
Is there? There's not going to be a mini pump. It's going to be a mini dump or a big dump. What's it going to be?
Medium.
All right, medium dump. Okay, fair enough. All right, medium dump. I can live with that. Elsa says definitely not going up. Elsa's usually been right on this with her gut read. I don't know if she'll be right on this time, but I would have to agree. In the short term, medium term, I still think that Bitcoin has another downside move. I mean, we kind of got it yesterday. I was saying between 79,000 to 81,000 bucks. Bitcoin just grazed 81 on that low, but to me, this looks like it still wants to try another move to the downside here. Anyways, I need to get my notes all prepared because we can actually get into some real analysis in a moment here. But let me just make sure that everything's working well over here as well. The verdict is you are gay, says Erica Krown Nano Cave. Fuck, man. I guess it's true. I read it on the internet, and now I like men. And there's nothing more to do about it. Kids around to have to watch later. All good, man. I understand that this is maybe not the most family-friendly channel, or for maybe a very special family, it could be all right, I guess. What do you think of MSTY as a concept? I actually have no idea what that is. Or do you mean maybe MSTR, MicroStrategy? Discover it and think it will die, but it's paying 76% APR. Okay, so it's some sort of thing that's giving you 76% APR. Man, if there isn't a greater red flag than super high APRs on something, especially if it's new, I don't know what else to tell you, man. Like, you're playing with fucking fire there. Unfortunately, your APR, your return is really zero. If the fund or whatever the hell you're looking at just craps through, which a lot of the time with that high API, either that APY is coming down below 10% real fucking fast, or it's an actual scam. So fair enough. Elsa, if the medium dump is cometh, will Powell pow his dump into our mouths?
Depends. Is it a nightman coming?
Elsa says, is it nightman or dayman? BitConnect paid that around that amount in 2017. Yeah, I almost forgot about BitConnect, but I heard it randomly the other day. Yeah, man, BitConnect was a fucking crazy one. I mean, there's so much to say about it, but I don't want to summon all of the crazies. But there's a great correlation between BitConnect and another crypto project that is currently going on that also has an absolutely fucking cult-like community that is a little bit crazy. But we won't go further into that. How about that? You can make your guesstimations, in the chat there. Sell in April for the Gapril. For the Gapril. Sell in April for the Gapril. Maybe. I don't know. Okay, cool. Let me get my notes out on over here. Let me make sure that everything is in the proper positioning here. I'll actually record this one, upload it later today as well, assuming that things start to actually move. Wow. Tenshi said, BitConnect leader just got pardoned by Trump. That's why it's back. Did he really? This is also another thing that Trump's been doing that I really don't like. I really don't like this. He's been pardoning known scammers, especially in the financial sector, which is just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, who is getting in your ear with this? And why? Like, what is the thought process behind this? This is ridiculous. This is absolutely fucking ridiculous. This is just okay to do financial crime now. This is insane. It's fucking insane, man. Fuck the charts. What do the witches say? The witches say it's still down, actually, but yeah. Anyways, okay. Let's make sure that we're set up over here. We'll actually start it off with traditional markets today, and then we'll get into the fun stuff. All right, sweet. In yesterday's video, we were looking for Bitcoin to have a bit of a short-term downside move. We're still in the same predicament here as well. However, traditional markets have been showing perhaps the real direction in the more near term. Now, looking at NASDAQ futures right here, we can see that this thing has actually been making consistently new lows this whole week. While Bitcoin has actually been holding above its current low. So a lot of the questions and a lot of the comments and conversations on Twitter and other social media venues are, holy shit, are we seeing the decoupling again? And honestly, I don't think so, or at least I wouldn't. I think it's way too premature to be saying anything like that as of right now. We've seen this happen many times in the past, and what typically happens is that over the course of the next week or two, things come back into normality and do become correlated again. And seeing as traditional markets have already made new lows here, it does make me certainly a little bit more concerned for something like Bitcoin and probably the rest of cryptocurrencies as well. Doesn't mean that things can't bounce in the short term here. In fact, looking at NASDAQ, I do think that it is going to be finding another local low, kind of where it's at right now. It's already come down here by, I think, about 17 or 18%. Yeah, 1769, great number right there. So, long-term investors, I don't hate this area for long-term investments, but I certainly wouldn't want to be going all in at this point. Not that you should really ever be going all in. Just leave the nuts out and the shaft in. And in this case, this thing could easily set up for a bounce coming into next week, back above $19,000. But does that mean that Bitcoin plays catch up in the meantime? Well, I think that there's one chart that we haven't looked at this whole week that is quite compelling in that, in that regard. Looking at Bitcoin, or sorry, not Bitcoin dominance, but Tether dominance right here, which has been pretty consistent actually. In getting the overall direction for Bitcoin, I'm still looking at this area here below about 5.5% as a likely high to be formed if this thing is going to come down. Meaning that if you do see the weekly close above, especially that 200 simple moving average right there, that white moving average, which has been rejecting this thing for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going on 6 weeks. Well, if we start to see closures above there, I would look at that as an indication that this thing is breaking out. We should see a quick move back towards the September 2024 highs, probably continue upwards and onwards from there. That would obviously put massive downside pressure on Bitcoin and cryptos in general. But for right now, as long as this thing is still below 5.5%, especially on those higher term timeframe closures, not a daily, but in this case, like a weekly, there is potential for this to form a high here. And that would be the bullish scenario. That would be the bullish scenario for Bitcoin more specifically, is this thing coming back down. However, there is a very, very obvious area now, not just to the upside to define a breakout, but also to the downside to define a breakdown and, likely confirm Bitcoin is going to try, a nice upside move. And that would be essentially Wednesday's low of about 15%. And if we see it come back down below there, I'd call this one reversing and be looking for this thing to come much lower. So as of right now, we Tether dominance is still stuck within this overall range. So there's not really any major analysis to be made there, but it should be known that we do see drives of hidden bearish divergence come off this last high. So as long as it's below that 200 simple, I do still hold on to some hopium here for Bitcoin, especially as long as Bitcoin is above again that March low that we've been speaking about so many times here. But here's the thing, in the short term, I do think that Bitcoin is going to inevitably be playing out a little bit of catch up here. In yesterday's video, like I said, we were looking for some downside, again, somewhere between 79,000 to 8,100, sorry, not 8,100, but $81,000, a little bit of a lower target, I guess. And we almost got it. It looks like Bitcoin came very, very close to 81 there, but this is still setting up for likely another downside try. We saw that the hidden bearish divergence divergence potential yesterday has now been confirmed as of last night's closure. And this is also going to be combined with low volatility. So there is a move a brewing, and a decent move at that. And on top of that, my new indicator over here, which I'm still playing around with, but this got a bearish signal pending last night's closure as well. So that did confirm it. Now, it's not a death signal. I do think that, at worst, this thing will come back down and retest somewhere around $79,000, just this white 200 moving average on the daily time frame here for specifically CME. And again, that would be actually a little bit above $79,000 as of right now. But that is where I'd really want to see things hold if Bitcoin really is going to dig itself out, pick itself up by its bootstraps, and continue with the upwards and onwards market cycle. But yeah, that would imply still likely another downside try in the short term. That's also going to be combined, by the way, with daily stochastic momentum continuing to the downside here. We identified that this one crossed to the downside over the past couple of days. Now it's just continuing to the downside. So downside pressure is abound as long as Bitcoin is below the momentum pivot of 86,700. So, as long as this is positioned to the downside, as long as we see hidden bearish divergence on that daily time frame, I do have to be short term at minimum looking for downside. Now, we should probably talk about what would happen if Bitcoin does break those March lows. I do think that you'll see a relatively quick move down to extremely low 70s, like 70 even, something like that, and probably try for a big bounce there. But I don't think that that would be the actual low. I think we'd be in like a real bear market at that time where, you get these moves to the downside, you get these consolidations where it tries a nice little short-term upside move, and then they just completely get crushed. And we really haven't seen that for a long time. In most markets, to be fair, and we're starting to see it in traditional markets. Despite me thinking that the short term is a bounce, I don't think that the bounce is going to materialize into a macro low here. I really do think that things come lower for traditional markets, especially looking at timeframes like the quarterly here. I mean, that's a swing high. So after you find a swing high, you got to find a swing low. It can be a lower low, it can be a higher low, but it is going to be a low. And the low unlikely to come in just one candle right here. And this is a quarterly chart. So that brings us into the end of June. Or is it the end of June? We have April, May, June. Yeah, end of June. My brain is just absolutely fucking crushed today. Anyways. Let me get back onto my notes over here, and let me just make sure that I have hit everything that we wanted to get into. Yeah, for the rest of it, again, just kind of rehashing our conversation yesterday about the timing of this. The timing of this still, I would be defensive, looking for potential downside between now and a little bit before the end of this next coming week. So a little bit less than, let's say, within the next 5 to 6 days is when I'd be defensive, because Bitcoin is going to play out a downside move. It likely happens within that time frame, and again, that would be a catch up for traditional markets, so something to be aware of there. Anyways, other than that, I actually completely forgot to bring up this point as well, but let's just quickly go over to it. The HPDR indicator over here, let's just see again what the weekly is looking like for CME. And what's the weekly looking like? Well, rejection of the 38.2 level, but basing at the 61.8 level. So we don't really have anything of super significance here, but it it does suggest that if there's going to be a direction, it's going to be the downside as of right now. Maybe the daily has something for us. Yeah, daily also downside pressure here. I think that's kind of obvious. Retesting around yesterday's low, I think is very, very likely, maybe even a little bit lower. Like I said, below $80,000 could very easily happen within this next 5 to 6 day spread, I suspect. So, I figured that we should find out relatively soon how these things are going to work out. But the positions or the areas of action remain unchanged here, and that's really what I want to be holding on to in a video like this. So, again, to the downside, it's the March lows. To the upside, we could actually move it down priorly from $93,000, the March 6th high, now to actually, I would even say Wednesday's high, this past Wednesday. Wednesday, if Bitcoin can close a daily time frame above that, above 88, what is it, 88,600? About 88,600, yeah. Sorry, $88,640, by the way. If we can see a closure above there on a daily time frame, I'd say that would be a damn good indication that Bitcoin is going to be pulling through to the upside. So those are the two triggers that I'm waiting for. Again, I do think that there is the potential for a long-term setup as long as Bitcoin is basing between here. But that long-term setup gets completely nullified again below the March lows. Below the March lows on any sort of higher term time frame closure is very, I look at it as very, 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 very bad. Anyways, until that happens, though, hoping remains alive, and there are several signals that have worked out very well in the past, like the hash ribbons. Signal, like the 5-day HPDRO signal, like what else did we have? I think there's a couple other ones as well, but they're escaping my mind right now. So those are still active, but again, even those get nullified below that March low. So we shall see, and I suspect it's not going to take too much longer to find out. But if you are looking for downside, I do think it's going to be happening within the next 5 days. If Bitcoin fails to really move to new lows within the next 5, maybe 6 days, I'd say that would also be a good sign just from the sort of timing component of this. Remember the April statistics in general for April. If it's going to be a positive closing month, we expect the low to come in very early within the month and very shallow from the open. About a 3.5% difference on average between the open and the low in positive closing Aprils, which is a much less number, by the way, than many other months that we've seen. So, again, putting that into perspective here, I think we've already done this as well, but 3.5% to the downside from the April open would be about $80,000 even. So even, from that perspective, assuming that things were going to close green in the month of April, we'd still be expecting, at least a downside try. So I do think that it's still time to be defensive, especially if you're on the lower term timeframes. If you're on the higher term timeframes, if you're a long-term investor, which I've been getting more and more into myself. I made a tweet about this the other day, but Bitcoin's 30% off the highs. I'm going to put some money, to work in an environment like that. I'm just going to, as a long-term investment, thinking 5, 10, 15 years down the road. Maybe that's relevant to you. Maybe that's not. I fully accept that things can go, decently lower from where we're at right now. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Bitcoin around $50,000. But at the end of the day, nobody fucking knows. So that's why we take our chances based off of the probabilities that we can find. Anyways, other than that, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. We're going to continue on with the live stream here on YouTube and actually Twitter as well. I'm very excited to have Twitter in the mix here too. And yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow with another regular analysis. With all of that said, take care, much love, and see you hopefully Saturday. Very nice. And I see we have crypto royalty in here right now. Lil Bubble, what's up, man? Do you know Lil Bubble is the one who makes those songs that you love? Both myself and Elsa, but definitely Elsa loves your songs, man. Holy shit. Especially the Michael Saylor one. We Call Them Poor. Great fucking tune. And I have to tell you, man, I still listen to every once in a while All Time Lows. It's so fucking good. Like, it's so good. It really is. Even the music video is good too, man. It's fucking phenomenal. I can't give you enough props for that. It's so fucking catchy. Every time I listen to it, it gets stuck in my head for a few days. Awesome shit. Anyways, what's up, Alex Shiba? He says 5-day, very close to Silver Cross on Tether dominance. Yeah, that's why I do think it's at kind of like a breaking point right here, meaning that, there is good reason to believe that this thing could very easily break to the upside. But for right now, there are still bearish signals on it. It's just we would really not expect much higher than where it's already gotten. On this current rally. So we'll see. And the weekly is the same thing here as well. It's about to get a bullish silver cross, but we actually have to see that one cross and really maintain the cross for like a few closures. So, this can still take another couple of weeks before it does come down, if it's going to come down. And as of right now, we are seeing that the higher term time frame momentum oscillators are, they're getting quite into critical conditions here. We do expect that during breakouts, to be fair. So that could be a bullish signal. But if we start to see the tether dominance come down below these pivots here, then that's going to be a pretty damn good signal that, hey, yeah, we do have a local high and this thing's going to be coming much lower, and we're probably in for a nice crypto rally. Bob Loblaw. Oh, holy shit, that's very clever, sir. Bob blah 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 blah. I see what you did there, sir. Oh, cool. Never watched the stream on X before. Yeah, man. We just started it. We just started it now, actually. This is the longest April 1st ever, says Vacuda. Yeah, it does feel that way. I feel like I've seen a lot of overdue April 1st or April Fool's jokes. I really hate it, honestly. I really fucking hate it. I don't know which one I hate more: April Fool's Day or that stupid fucking day where we changed the clocks. I really dislike both of these. I do hate the clock day more. I'm still like adjusting to it, and we just switched in Europe on Sunday. Yeah, Sunday, and I swear, man, it is just fucking destroying me. Yeah, it's Bob blah blah. Very clever. Let's see what else we got. I'm gonna read some of these comments, and we'll get into then we'll get into some of the chats. Matthias says, wow, my headset goes all the way to the toilet at work, taking a dump in with Cookie Monster Crown in my ears. Must be heaven. This is what it feels like, sir. This is what it feels like. Yeah, daylight saving sucks, man. Crown, I'm not gay for TA. April Fools. I see what you did there, sir. I see what you did there. CZ says 2-day divergence on Bitcoin with a close under 81. Let's check it out. I don't know off the top of my head. I actually haven't checked this one out. 2-day time frame for Caretaker's RSI did call hidden bearish divergence, not on this most recent high, but on this one that was at $88,000 from the very end of March. So I don't see it there. Maybe on spot price action. Spot price action, same thing. We can't really have bearish or bullish divergence as it stands right now because this is a higher low, so you can't have regular bullish divergence. And there's no highs here. The last high was right here, and that one was hidden bearish divergence, yes, but you know, you could argue that the easy portion of that move's already played out. If there's going to be another move, it would be basically around those lows again from March, somewhere around there. Just hopefully not a lower low, especially on a closing basis. That's where things get a little bit crazy, sir. Goblin Town, yes, we're all in Goblin Town right now. We're in Goblin Town as Bitcoin is above 83,000 US fucking dollars. Last time we were in Goblin Town, it was like $30,000. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy how a couple of years can change so much of perspective. Anyways, in the clock chain, we aren't farmers. Yeah, man. Well, does it even matter for? How would it matter for farmers? I don't know. I thought it was to like save. What for the animals? The animals don't look at clocks anyways. Like, what are you talking about? They know the time. Yeah, they have their own internal clocks. They don't have fucking daylight savings. What are you talking about? Elsa just says shit all the time that makes me go like, wait, what? Like, one time I was contemplating, why is it Batman and Catwoman who are together? Like, that seems like a bad combination. She's like, because a bat is a cat. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, a bat is a cat. Why is it Catwoman? Why is it Catwoman and Batman? Why is it? I need to know this. Should probably just ask Chat GPT. I'll never have to be lonely again with Chat. That's the beautiful thing. Anyways, yes, I'm going to be... This is also another great thing that Elsa says. If I make any sort of positive comment towards Chat GPT, maybe you should just marry Chat. It's like... Yes, and also I will be having sex with my chat bot when it gets embodied as a full-on robot. And I will be getting the extra tight fleshlight contraption as well. Anyways, Steven Schickman says doggy daily weekly. Sure, man. It's like I already knew what you were going to ask. Doggy over here. Definitely not strong on its own. If Bitcoin shows any weakness, this thing's going to make new lows. But, you know... It still, both the daily and the weekly are coming off of like very, 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 very strong levels. Weekly is coming off of the 200 simple. Can it have another test down around there? Sure, but it's really hard for me to look for a real breakdown below that region without having like a big bounce first. Like this bounce that we saw over the past 3 to 4 weeks, you know, it hasn't even confirmed you know, a local high. It's still nothing. It's still a consolidation. As far as the daily goes, the daily is basing off of, or actually no, it's not basing off of. I thought it was basing off of the 377, but nope, it's much lower than there. Daily is pretty fucking bearish, I will say. Daily is pretty fucking ugly. But But there's a really obvious area to say that Dogecoin is going to be good coin, good Dogecoin. And that will be if this thing can trade back above the March 26th high. If it can do that, then you probably have a pretty decent rally, on your hands. And I am more inclined to say that that's probably going to be the case here. Again, even the monthly is coming off of major moving averages. Like, it's usually not very wise to be looking for a complete fucking shattering of these levels without a decent bounce at minimum first. So, was this a decent bounce over here? Let's see how much it was on a percentage basis. I'm curious. Actually, it was almost 44%. So that was a lot. What are momentum oscillators saying here? We do have another drive of hidden bearish divergence, phantom drive. So it's not a death sentence, but any sort of, hidden bearish divergence is always going to be bad, or at least make me consider the short-term downside a little bit more. If we go over here to our stochastic momentum, this is where things start to look really fucking bad to me. The monthly stochastic oscillator has bearish divergence and is actually freshly crossing down here to open up the month of April. This one remains down as long as Dogecoin is below 39 cents. So there ain't going to be anything super interesting to the upside anytime soon, in my opinion. At best, you're going to get another corrective bounce that gets sold into. But, these corrective bounces can go quite high. If we go over here to the daily's going to have a chance to cross up relatively soon. Bitcoin spot kind of looks the same as well, actually. But for right now, can it bounce? I'm more inclined to say it's going to bounce here, but based off of the monthly, I just don't think that bounce is going to be doing anything super significant. Definitely not above 25 cents. If it got there, that would be a gift from God, in my opinion. But yeah, it would be a pretty damn big move from where it's at right now. So there is that. Anyways, let's get over to the next one from Steven Schickman. Nice. Tether dominance. We kind of already went over it, but let's do a little bit more of a dedicated analysis on it. Let's go over here. We can also just look at general stablecoin dominance, by the way, but there's just not as much history, so it's not as useful. And you can also notice that it's essentially the same chart. So yeah, when I go over to the daily time frame for Tether dominance, we are going to have a potential cross to the downside on daily stochastic momentum if this thing closes today below 555. The daily is not enough for me to call this one a reversal to the downside. It's really the weekly that I need to see, and the weekly needs to really come down below at least this week's low. And close below there. And at that point, yeah, I'd say that this is a lower high in a series of lower highs, and we should be looking for another run at the lows, at least, maybe a trend. I don't think that it will trend to new lows, but retesting these lows from 2024 and 2025, I would think would be quite likely. So we shall see. We shall see indeed. Anyways, moving on from there. I see we have Remy the Whippet. He says, "Sir, Keycat on the daily weekly CoinEx chart. Best bet." All right, best bet. Okay, let's see what this thing is doing. What is this thing doing? It's going down. I have to say, it looks pretty fucking bad. Hold on, you're on CoinEx. Okay, my apologies. Maybe there's a better chart over there, or at least hopefully one with more history. It appears that there is no CoinEx chart for Keycat on TradingView. Maybe I need to get rid of this. Yeah, that was the issue. There we go. All right. Still pretty bad, but not as bad as that last chart. That's for sure. Weekly, look, it's a downtrend. You just had another lower high right here. I have to be bearish off of something like that, man. I have to be bearish off of something like this. Same thing on the 5-day time frame. That's going to be confirming tomorrow night. 3-day time frame already confirmed. Momentum to the downside. If it has a bounce, I'd be looking somewhere around 4 to 4.5 tenths of a cent. But I think that would be an opportunity to offload something like this. This is bearish. So yeah, maybe a short-term bounce attempt, but I don't think that that's going to reverse you. This thing is bearish as fuck as long as you're below 0.6 of a cent, honestly. So yeah. Nishant says, "Fuck you, Krown. Love you, bro." What? I too am confused by this note. But fair enough. I would like to fuck you and also love you as well, bro. Anyways, Stefan Milicevic. You literally call me gay every fucking day. So what's the surprise? Like, Elsa seems surprised. Anyway, Stefan Milicevic says, "Kathy Wood bought Bitcoin today. Are we fucked?" I don't know, man. I really don't know. I mean, she Does she have a good record? Does she have a bad record? Well, we can just look at her arc, right? I have to say, it's not a very impressive chart. In fact, I'd even go as far to say it's a pretty bad chart and likely to move lower. But if we do follow these last few lows, maybe comes down to like 41.5, 42. So even then, you know, this thing I think comes a little bit lower. If it starts to really come below like 41, then I think that this thing goes for the full reset and tests around the 2023 lows. But you know, this thing is bearish right now. I mean, momentum to the downside on the monthly, hard one to love in an overall downtrend. It's going to be bounces along the way, but I think that this one reaches a little bit lower first, then has a big bounce. Could that bounce turn into reversal? Possibly, yes, but I need to see it really pop back above 55 before I say, hey, this actually looks like it is going to be reversing into an uptrend again. Until then, this thing's highly fucking highly scary. I'll put it that way. Anyways, we'll get back onto the super chats here. We see our ICCZ. He says it's the Swiss franc US dollar yearly chart implying a run for safety may be near within a year or two. Let's check it out. So CHF USD. Okay. We'll go to ICE. I'd be bullish on this chart for sure. Absolutely bullish. But does this imply that there's going to be a flight to safety? I really don't know. I really don't know. Has it operated like that? I mean, this thing was pretty much rallying straight to the fucking moon from 01 to 2011. And we saw some pretty epic bull markets during that time. We also saw, of course, some pretty epic bear markets from, you know, the .com crash and then also the 08 financial crisis. But even during those up phases, which were really intense, this thing just continue to go up. So I don't know if I'd make that relationship. But if you're asking me if I'm bullish on this chart, the answer is fuck yeah, I am. You have an uptrend and you have momentum turning back up freshly. Looks good to me. And it's also no secret that it seems that the Trump administration really wants the value of the dollar, Dixie, to go down. And so, I mean, it has come down a lot here. Actually, since he took over presidency, it's come down a lot. But still, you know, it is at the same area that it has been holding throughout this whole consolidation going back to 2023 as well, that 55 EMA. So, you know, if it is going to bottom out, this would be the area to do it in. But it's hard to make a bullish case for this one. I mean, you got a lot of sell signals here. So if it does want to break down, I guess this would be the move to do it. You know, this would be the move that broke the camel's back. And at that point, you're looking very, very much under 100. I would think somewhere around 96, 96-ish if that were to happen. What are you whatting about? So yeah, I agree. It's bullish. I 100% agree with you on that. I just don't know if that means the same thing as what you're implying there. I really don't know. It's not something that I've studied myself. Ian Terry says, "Hola, neighborito. What's up, man?" Ian Terry, literally one of the most OGs of this cave. He was on this channel probably within the first month of it starting, which is awesome. Is there any hope for my Swarm City tokens from 2017 to rebound? Any news? SWT versus BTC on Yobit. Holy shit. On Yobit, are you sure it's not on Craptopia? Only the most OGs of OGs will even remember Cryptopia. Shit, this thing isn't even on TradingView. It looks like it's actually not on TradingView. Wow. I remember this was a big one in 2017, which is why this is a great callback. But in 2017, there's all these sort of ICO shitcoins that just went to the moon and beyond. This one was a big one as well. Let me just see if I can type it in. Swarm City. Swarm City, the number of whales? What the fuck? What is going on here? Maybe just the token. I don't know what's going to pop up on my screen, but let's see. Okay, that's not a helpful chart. I don't think I can look at it, man. But I'm sure it's doing really, really well, and it's just under whale accumulation right now, so should be going up any moment now. Let's see what else we got. Daniel Welch says min on the AXX. Okay, got it. Thank you for specifying the exchange as well. So it's Mineral Resources. I'm guessing it's some sort of commodity miner or some shit like this. Shit, I'll tell you what you already know. It's fucking ugly. It's pretty bad. Jesus, man, look at this week. getting absolutely fucking crushed there. I mean, this is just breakdowns on every level here. I guess the next major region I'd be looking at is about $15, somewhere between $13.50 to $15. This is a real falling knife right here. Look, I don't know how much further this one comes down. It's already been beat up a lot, and we are seeing extremes on volatility here. So I have to say that this current move probably finds a bounce relatively soon, but whenever you see something like this, it's best to just wait it out and watch before going in. You know, even if you do really want to invest in something, it's like wait for the knife to drop on the ground, then you can pick it up. And this thing is still falling right now. So I just say, actually, I like, am I just going to blindly say this thing's going to come down from to $15 from here? I mean, it really does look like that, which is actually crazy. Weekly is just ugly as hell. Yeah, I guess just even based off of the weekly, I have to be even short-term bearish as long as this thing's below $26. It's like 30% below that number right now. What the hell? 25% below that number. Yeah, Jesus, that's not happening, or at least not anytime soon. So not good. Not good, sir. I think down is the continued direction. Arturo says stock AVAX or AVAB. Okay, AVAB, AVAB. All right, daily, monthly. Okay, I think it's this one here. Some sort of Aerovironment. I'm pretty sure this was like from Wolf of Wall Street or some shit. Coming off of the weekly 200 simple moving average, you know, this thing did already kind of get a bounce here attempt. This happened in early March. It was a decent bounce, it looks like. How much was that? 20% bounce? Yeah, not bad, especially for traditional markets. But do I think it's going to break down here on this move? Yeah, I mean, that is bearish. So if it is going to break down, this would be the time to do it. If this thing does break down, I'd be looking at about $100. How would we define a breakdown in this case, though? I'd need to see a daily closure below about 112. And then, yeah, I'd say so. But quarterly looks like a major top to me. Momentum turning down here as well. I mean, I don't think this is going to be resolved in just one candle. I think it's going to take a few at least. So yeah, I have to be more looking towards the downside. Even the daily, I mean, maintains the downtrend. There's just nothing bullish about this thing as long as you're below 128 or sorry, 127 and a quarter. Above there, yeah, okay, maybe it's reversing, but you know, this is a downtrend and the trend is your friend if you just let it be. So that's all that I have to say about that, sir. JT32 has a nice super chat, but no message. So feel free to post another message and tag Elsa in the comment, and she'll bring it back up. Let's go back to Twitter. Let's see what's going on Twitter. Obit says GM Krown Chainlink USDT weekly. Sure. Yeah, let's look at this one. Chainlink. Curious to see what a lot of these shitcoins are looking like today. Are they looking obviously bearish or are they looking bouncy? Another one coming off the 200 simple. It already had the easy bounce. So that's the easy call that you saw right here. That's 20% up move. I think that this one is, I think that this one's going to try around the lows or maybe new lows. I have to be bearish on this thing as long as you're below $14. Above $14, okay, yeah, you probably have a nice, a decent rally inbound, somewhere between like $17, maybe even $20, but probably somewhere around 17 if that were to happen. Until then, I'm just generally going to be bearish on something like this and be looking for this one to come back down close to the March lows, probably even a little bit lower than that. I think $11.50 is about right. I think that's what we said last time we looked at this one as well, somewhere between like $10 to $11. It's gotten down to $12.30, so close, but I do think that there can be another try a little bit lower than where it's currently at right now, and then you should try for a decent bounce. Quarterly is weird to me here, but I think you're going to come down to that 21, to be honest, and that is close to $11. So, but I don't think it's going to break down from there, to be honest with you, or at least I think that there's going to be another big bounce from that region. So just depends on what you're looking at. If you're very, very low term timeframes, then downside. If you're higher term timeframes, I think you're generally in a bounce region. So yeah. Anyways, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency on Twitter says, Krown, can we get the INDP chart? INDP. This thing? I guess. Pretty fucking ugly, man. Actually, the worst chart today, and it's not even a crypto, which is even more surprising. Here's the real chart, by the way. Look, unless if you have insider information that this thing's going to solve cancer or some shit like that, this is not investable. I'll put it that way. Anyways, let's get back to the chats over here on YouTube. I see Zain Ali. He says, Bone Shiba swap? Bone Shiba. They're just making shit up now. They've been making shit up for a long time. Bone Shiba swap. That's not on TradingView. Is there maybe Bone token? Oh, there is. Okay. We got it. And there's a lot more history than what I would have ever expected, to be honest with you. This thing goes all the way back to 2022. That's surprising to me. Anyways, this thing has had one thing consistent throughout its whole history, and that is that it likes to go down. So can never really call a reversal here. Look, that weekly is a great lower high in my opinion. And that was at 39 cents, something like this. I have to go with trend continuation here, man. Yeah. Is this thing even going to try above last month's high? I don't think so. Really bad. Really bad. Really bad. The thing is like, you might get these pumps out of nowhere, but they've all failed. They've all failed for multiple years, even within the biggest bull markets of all time. What do I think a bear market's going to do? It's going to go down much lower. But in this case, I'd just be very, very bearish on this as long as you're especially below about 37 to 38 cents. Johnny Utah says, does anything not suck? In the very, very short term, it's hard to not see that a lot of these things are going to come at least a little bit lower than where they're currently at right now. Maybe not making new lows. But like I said, hopium is still alive as long as Bitcoin's above the March lows. Does that apply to altcoins? We haven't found a bullish altcoin thus far today. We found some that look like they might be ready for bounces, but bounce is not the same thing as reversal, sir. Bitcoin and crypto says they are actually making progress with cancer. Yeah, fair enough. Again, these sort of things are outside of the realm of traditional TA. So I don't have any real opinion on that, to be honest. What's up, Mr. Filson? You almost missed the stream, but you didn't. Our good friend from Japan. We need more friends from Japan. Japan is the coolest country in the whole wide world. If we might have to move to Japan. Actually, be fucking awesome. But I don't think I could ever learn the language. Maybe Elsa could, but I don't think that I could do it. Japanese people are just cooler. They're just cooler, and I think they're just better than us too. Like, I mean, it's a bad thing to be stating, but because of World War II. But I have to admit, Anyways. Let's see. I'll read through a few more of these as well. Astar Whale says, "Do you think Ethereum has a chance of hitting 10,000 in the future? Define the time frame for that." I mean, there's a probability for everything, right? But within the next year, fuck no. Within the next 5 years, I don't know, maybe. The problem with me for Ethereum, though, is the same problem that everyone's aware of. During the 2024 bull market, this thing did not make new all-time highs. That to me is always a bad sign. I think this thing's more likely to go a little bit lower here first than anything else. I think that this thing still comes down to like 1,500, give or take a little bit from that number. Bounces along the way as well, maybe even in the short term here. But yeah, as far as 10,000 goes, I mean, look, 10,000, like thinking about even fucking 4,000 is not relevant. Thinking about any sort of new all-time high at all whatsoever is just not relevant when you see something like this. Quarterly breaking the last quarterly range lows. This thing wants lower. If it does get a bounce within this next quarter, I think best case scenario, it'll travel up to like 2,200. But that would be a gift from God to sell into. I mean, this is not great. But I don't think it needs to come down that much lower in order to try for a higher low somewhere in this circle here. And then that would still be a higher low, to be fair, on the macro scale. And then maybe it could work its way up. And within the next 5 years, maybe it gives a try towards 10,000. Possible, yes. But, we're getting really far ahead of ourselves here. And so a lot of assumptions, a lot of errors can be made on that. Let's see what else we got. You can get a house for $5,000 in Japan if you live there for 5 years. I mean, that's cool, but I'd be happy to pay more for a better house. I'm not sure what that $5,000 house is going to look like. Maybe it is very nice. I don't know. Japanese people seem to be very happy with very little, which is probably why they are better. Is what?
Golf cart included?
Does it include a golf cart? I told Elsa she can drive a golf cart in Florida if we move there, and she's like got it in her mind ever since then that she is going to get this golf cart and be driving around everywhere. I don't know if that's actually going to work, but it seems like it will. So there we go. G the Champ says, Fartcoin, please. Sure, ma'am. Fartcoin, I'm sure this one's doing well. It actually did have a pretty epic bounce recently. So there is that. And also an epic dump. Oh my God, it even made a new low here too. Wow. Back to 36 cents. See, the problem with this right now is... Oh no, you do have a lower high and lower low. Okay, fair enough. All right, so you do have a downtrend on every time frame that matters then. Yeah. Do I think that this thing's going to move higher than even this week's high anytime soon? Fuck no, man. I think that this thing's more likely to come back down to your March lows, actually. Looking at the monthly is not as bad, to be fair, so maybe there's some hopium there, I guess. But every other time frame suggests to me that this is your next local high here, and if it's the next local high, then you're coming back down to form a local low, and that's going to be probably lower than where it's currently at. Yeah, I'd treat this one as bearish as long as you're below 52 cents now. Before we said as long as it's below about 58 cents, but I think you can move that down based off of the last couple of days price action. That also means that if this thing can pop back up above 52 cents and close it daily above there, then you probably have a pretty decent rally on your hands. 75 cents on the lower end to maybe 90 cents on the higher end. I mean, obviously that would imply that Bitcoin's probably well above $90,000 at that point, but yeah. Which would probably just be easier to watch anyways, to be honest. But yeah, I'm not going to be bullish on a chart that looks like this. I have to be favoring the downside. So yeah, Time Attack says, what are your thoughts about the yen carry trade? Something to consider as an issue for the future, similar to August 2024, $70,000 to $49,000 dump. If I'm redacted with this question, please excuse me. No, you're not redacted at all. I'm actually redacted because I don't understand that well enough to comment on it, to be honest with you. I really don't understand like the very specifics of the whole economic machine, especially something that's in like a foreign land as well. There's just too many variables, too many things going on, and that's not my expertise. That's not what I spent my time studying. So I have no idea, to be honest with you, man. But you know, we could look at like Japanese markets. Maybe that would be a good sort of corollary to figure out what the hell is going on there. And wow, doesn't look good to me, sir. I think that this one comes a little bit lower, probably closer to the 200 simple on the weekly, and then you probably are in for a bounce. Maybe it puts in a low there, like an actual macro low. I mean, it's going to be the 55 on the monthly and the 200 on the weekly. So at least a bounce, but that would imply that this thing goes lower in the short/medium term here. I mean, shit, this thing hasn't even had a bounce this whole fucking week. It's just been straight down every day since March 26th, actually, down 13% in 9 days. Holy fuck. That is wild, man. That is totally wild. Does it try for a short-term bounce here and then roll over and go a little bit lower? Maybe. Bitcoin trying to bounce, so maybe it will subvert what I was looking for earlier, but we shall see. Still has a long way to go to prove itself, at least in my opinion. Thoughts on Solana, says Jordan Knox. Sure, let's look at Solana. Down below 120 now. We have been saying for a long time that this thing's probably going to come to about $80 or $85. I still think that is the case, but is there going to be a bounce before then? I guess you can hold on to hopium for a bounce as long as you're above this March 11th low, which is $12. $12? Yeah, sorry, $112. If you close below there, okay, yeah, 80, 85 or whatever it is. But until then, you know, if you are going to bounce, this would be an area for it. I don't think it's going to be reversal, to be honest with you, but, you know, if Bitcoin wants to bounce, this thing can bounce as well. maybe it comes back up to like 125 or something. As far as the more long-term goes, it's very hard to love as long as you're below 148 now. Before it was 180. So I'd move that pivot down as well. If it can move back above that region, then I think that you actually will, I think it'll actually survive and it will not be going below $100. I think it'll actually just spend a lot of time going sideways here and then actually try some upside. But for now, I could very easily see it trying for a bounce here, at least in the short term. Let's see, like very low term time frames, like a 4 hour. Yeah, this one wants to bounce right here, obviously. But let's see, is there a bullish divergence building on something like this? That's the real question right now. Well, we actually don't have new lows yet, so it's hard to say. But no, there would not be bullish divergence, at least as it stands right now. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe a short-term bounce, but I don't think it's going to materialize into a reversal. All right, let's see what we got going on Twitter. Krown, is this the first live on X? If so, keep it going. Actually, we tried it earlier this week on Tuesday, and it worked. And so, yeah, I'll keep it going because I like getting X involved. X is great, man. Especially because I think it's a lot easier for a lot of people as well. Anyways, there's something I just wanted to check out right here, but oh yes, Japanese versus the yen. No, Bitcoin versus the yen. Is there any more obvious signals here? Because sometimes this chart can be a little bit more obvious than Bitcoin spot. Yeah, it's in a really precarious place. I mean, is that a swing high before going lower? Very easily could be. But still, looking at this one, like I have to be betting on a bounce from this 11.5 million yen region. So not really offering me a different look than what we've seen on Bitcoin spot. So not really getting anything unique there. Hey, all good, Jordan Knox. Thank you, ma'am. Let's see. I'm going to buy Fook load at 85 for Sol. I mean, first it's got to get there. I mean, again, I can be wrong about this. And in like the very, very short term, I think that it will attempt for a bounce. I just don't think that bounce is going to be a reversal. And as long as you're below Wednesday's high, it's not a reversal. If you can trade above Wednesday's high, okay. You got at least a short-term reversal on your hands, and this thing can easily come back up to like 150 to even 170 maybe. But until that happens, man, hard one to love. And more longer term, I do have to be looking closer to 85 or somewhere around there. Anyways, please be my Sam to your Frodo and carry me to the volcano. I can't do it alone. Plume USD daily weekly. Oh dear Lord, what could this be? What could this be? Actually, okay, we found an altcoin today that looks significantly different than anything else that we've seen today. And I'd even go as far to say that this thing, I don't know if it's ready to move to the upside from where it's at right now, but I do think that it will, over enough time, move back up above 20 cents or so. I'd be bullish on this thing as long as you're above 16.5 cents. I don't know about the monthly, but I don't know about the weekly, but as long as you're above at least a 5, I mean, have to be favoring upside. So I think that this thing actually is going to move up probably from here. Not bad. Bullish as long as it's above 16.5. I like it. Or at least compared to everything else that we've seen today. There is a limited amount of history here, but yeah, it is what it is. Free says the Sui/Solana trade, swing trade is looking good. Let's check it out. I haven't looked at this one since the last video on the Sui Sol. Whoops. Do we have an actual? No, we don't. We got to do it the old fashioned way. Yeah, I'd actually be bullish on Sui versus Sol. I would be favoring Sui over Sol in this case, at least over the long term. In the short term, probably another downside move. I mean, you do have some bearish divergence here, but I don't think it's going to be like a trend, below the current lows. So Sui should be doing better than Solana, just in the grand scheme of things. I would imagine over the next few months, probably something like this. Anyways, CZ says coin 50 USDC. Okay, coin 50 USDC daily shitcoin S&P. Wait, what? what is this? Okay, I'm just going to type in this. Coin 50. Okay. Oh, it is this. All right. I have no idea what this is. It sounds like a stablecoin, but it doesn't look like one, so it's probably not. Another drive of hidden bearish divergence on the last lower right there. Again, very difficult to love a chart like this, especially a chart that's only ever gone down. Only getting bearish signals no matter what time frame I go to. The only question that I have is it ready to continue to new lows from here, or does it try for a bounce first? I really don't know. It's like a lot of these things, it wouldn't take too much to get them on a bounce. Bitcoin seems to be trying to attempt its own. This thing I need to see close above 333, and then yeah, at that point I could see this thing having a pretty decent bounce towards 360 to like 380 region. I still think that would be a sell. I mean, this thing has like literally never had a consistent uptrend, so whatever pop that you do get is a sellable event, at least in my opinion, until proven otherwise. So yeah, that's what I'd say about that, sir. It's a top 50 cryptos. Really? This is a top 50 cryptos? Damn, they're looking terrible. Look, it's a state of the market. I guess there's probably not even 50 legitimate cryptocurrency projects anyways. Probably like the top 5 would be better to go off of. Let's see. Ricky says nearly 2.5 billion Bitcoin and Ethereum options expire today in predominantly bear. No, not while I'm talking about something. And today amid predominantly bearish sentiment, people always bring up these numbers like, oh, there's a big options expiration without understanding what it actually means. I'm not saying that you're doing this. I know that you're probably just parroting this from someone else who's been doing the same shit on crypto Twitter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, at least not right now. I can tell you exactly why it doesn't matter at this exact moment, because people who are trading these options contracts, they've already made their moves definitely before today, because as of right now, an option versus spot or futures, whatever you corollary you want to use, there's going to be no difference. It's only parity. It's only fucking parity. So all of these positions are either worthless right now or basically worthless, or they are in the money. And so these decisions, these rollovers have very likely already been done in the past couple weeks. And we did see a nice pivot in the past couple weeks. So there is that as well. Anyways, all right. What did you want to say?
There was the request that someone sent a news attack me.
For Moi Moi?
No, the one that sent super chat, but there was no message.
Okay, then send the fucking message to me.
Okay.
Like, what?
Oh my god, sir.
What?
No, he's tagging me, but there is nothing there. So can you?
Oh. So to the person who's trying to tag Elsa with the coin, JT32. We can't see what coin you're asking for, so just post the fucking the fucking ticker.
I don't know.
What?
Like if he's typing it, YouTube removes it or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Then figure out another way to type it, because it might be moderated by YouTube. Because I have blocked a lot of the scam comment coins. And shit like that. So it's possible that it's getting, limited from that. Moi Moi says, Moi Elsa Bird, Moi Eric, good morning to you as well, sir. Nuke Doodoo USDT. Let's check it out. Is it nukeable? Is it nukeable? It's nukeable, baby. It's fucking nukeable. Let's drop the nuke. This chart's already been nuked a few times, to be honest. I see one right there, one right there. Also very recently as well. There is no such thing as a low for something like this. Let's see what else we got on Twitter here. I always get your live notifications late as fuck on YouTube. Yeah, a lot of people have been complaining about this as well, unfortunately. I don't know what the issue is. I don't know how to resolve it, to be honest, but yeah, that's also why I'd like to get a bit more on Twitter. Twitter's just, it's so convenient. It's so convenient, honestly. Anyways. All right. Kaspa USDT. Sure. All right. Kaspa on the weekly. Let's see. Kas USDT. All right. Pretty bad, man. We've been bearish on this thing for a long time, and I'd still be bearish on it overall. But if it bounces here, I'd be looking somewhere a little bit below 8 cents, and I think that you move lower from there. The question is, are you going to get that bounce? It wouldn't take too much to get a big bounce here. But I've been saying that for a while, and things have had their bounces, to be fair. If it can trade back above 8 cents and close above there, I would call a reversal, but I highly, highly doubt that that's happening here. I think that if this thing gets anywhere near 8 cents, that's going to be a massive fucking sell. This is the Eiffel Tower. This is the Burj Khalifa pattern. It's about to get fucking boo-caked, man. It's bad. It's very fucking bad. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing closer to 2.5 cents. In the next year, something like that. There's going to be bounces along the way, probably even big bounces, but I don't think that those bounces are doing anything significant to the upside as far as like reversing the trend. What's up, Mr. Fingless? Good morning to you as well, sir. Nice one. That's Brian says, do you think Bitcoin dominance falls for a short time sometime this year to around 50 to 55%? I think best that you're going to see to the downside right now in the next 3 months would be like 60%. This chart is not bearish at all, but the problem is that, again, this chart doesn't really represent what I think a lot of people want it to represent. A lot of people want it to represent, like, when is altcoin season? When can I just blindly go into any fucking stupid ass altcoin and make a shit ton of money doing nothing? That's never been the case. We've already had an alt season anyways. Like, we had an alt season. Meme coins went fucking insane. Meme coins and the AI narratives went absolutely insane in this cycle, having incredible returns. But did the Bitcoin dominance chart ever go down during that time? No, because the rest of the shitcoins were dragging ass, just as they do from all prior cycle shitcoins in all prior cycles. But people are still so beholden to this idea that because in 2017 everything rallied, because the only things that were in the market were pretty much new. I mean, then again, from the prior market cycle, yeah, you didn't even see that, but no one knew about it back then, I don't think. So yeah. I'm not. What I'm trying to say is that, hey, look, I'm not saying that your favorite altcoin, can't rally. If it's a part of the narrative, or if it's just part of a general market bounce, like, they can have pretty big rallies. I wouldn't be waiting for this chart to come down to 55%, though. I don't think that that's happening anytime soon. But like I said, I don't think that this is the best chart to be looking at. For that reason, I think if you want to be looking at altcoins and relating it to Bitcoin dominance, you want to be looking at the Bitcoin pair versus your specific altcoin rather than just this chart, because this is not going to be helpful. Like, if you're saying, hey, I can't go into alts now because it's not alt season because Bitcoin dominance is rallying, you would have missed all of the fucking meme rally. You would have missed all of the AI agent and an AI related rally as well. And in my opinion, that was the alt season. Like, we saw it, and it was incredible. I mean, fuck, do people not remember like these epic rallies that literal garbage shitcoins that specifically say they have no value went up by? It's really hard for me to kind of get around that. All right, William Valadez says, keep up the good streams, Krown. I appreciate that, man. Any levels you like in Filecoin? Okay, if it gets a strong close above 322. All right. I don't think I've looked at this one since 2022, maybe, or 2021. Was when it was last requested. Yeah, terrible. This is what you can expect from most shitcoins. 98% of shitcoins will follow this chart, basically. Anyways, your question specifically is any levels you like in Filecoin if it gets a strong close above 322. 322 does nothing for me on the monthly. This thing is, look, I don't think that this thing's ever going to reverse, man, but could you get like one of these epic short-term bounces that inevitably fail? Yeah, sure. Let's see. Let's maybe go down to a daily here. Yeah. What do you know? The daily time frame has tried a nice rally here. Just need to see it really close above this last lower high from 322, which is the exact number that you just gave above. And I do think that you're in for another, like, pretty decent bounce. I just don't think that the bounce is going to be a long-term reversal. But, this past one, I mean, this is a fucking tremendous move, right? 159%. Over the course of 30 days, essentially. The one before that was from low to high, almost 300%. Like, these are pretty epic bounces, to be fair. So if it did rally back above 322, I do think that you have a pretty damn good shot at another one of those epic rallies. I just don't think that rally is going to carry it on for forever. But hey, it doesn't mean that you can't trade it. I mean, This one's making me think that the market does want to try a bounce first, so I might very well be wrong about another short-term try to the downside, but I'll still wait until traditional markets open up before I subscribe to that belief fully. That's Brian says, thoughts on 88? Then yeah, sure, man. I'm actually curious to see what this one looks like because it was one of the more different charts as of recent times. But as usual, even if it's different, it still comes back into normality here. Again, it's like, are you going to bounce here? Probably. I think that you do bounce a little bit higher. Yeah, that's really all that I have to say about that. I think that you're going to try bounce here on the daily. How high can it go? It could easily come up to like 73 cents. But that doesn't change anything. Where would this thing actually start to change? Well, it'd be quite obviously right here, 77.5 cents. So I think that you get quite close there, 73, 74, but 77 is the line in the sand for calling a reversal here. And at that point, if it can reclaim that number, I think that you see a move above $1 relatively soon after that. So hopium for a bounce to materialize here, but it needs to do some work. It needs to do some real work in order to prove itself. Other than that, it can easily just have a short-term bounce, fail, and then come lower, right? So yeah, the more that I look at it, the more that I think that this thing is going to bounce. The more that I look at most of these cryptos we've seen today, it does look like a lot of them are setting up for short-term bounces. So yeah. All right. Let's see what else we got. I'm going to get back on over here to Twitter. Satoshi Glockamoto says, miner production cost for Bitcoin. Are you talking about I'm pretty sure. No. Okay, I guess I don't know what you're talking about. I could have sworn, though. I have a production cost oscillator somewhere, but where is it is the real question. Maybe it's here. Let me just double check. Maybe we'll find it. Oh, yeah, here it is. The Bitcoin production cost oscillator. I guess this one would be more on the bullish side. Like we haven't seen the exuberant levels that have called tops before, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Bitcoin. Hey, what? Is this one not? Oh, okay, yes, it did go there. Yeah, other than that, I don't really have any real analysis on this, man. I mean, it can stay low for a long time and it can stay high for a long time. Difficult to make a plan off something like that, in my opinion. So yeah, I'll get off this chart. All right. We have Pisa. Pisa says, good morning. Could you take a look into XRP? Sure. XRP, we were looking for a move to $2 over the past couple weeks. And I think, holy shit, it finally made it. Actually, a little bit below $2, 196, not bad. Just like all the other things we've seen today, I do think that you're setting up for a short-term bounce here. This thing could easily bounce up to like 222 region. Doesn't change the trend. Doesn't reverse anything. It could bounce anywhere between like 222 on the lower end to 235 on the upper end, and still be bearish. But the area to call a reversal here, I will also move down, similar to what we've done for many of these things. And I'd call a reversal in this thing back to the upside if it can trade and close a daily minimum above 245. 245, yeah, 245. That would be my line in the sand. Until then, short-term bounce probably tops out somewhere in this region here, and then have to favor trend continuation as always. Not that it's guaranteed to work out in that fashion, but yeah, it is what it is. Anyways, maybe more relevant to this though is where would be the critical region to be aware of, similar to Bitcoin below the March lows for Ripple. Well, I think that would quite obviously be the daily 200 simple, which is about 185 below there. This thing's going to come down significantly. But until that happens, hopium is, I guess, still okay over the long term. Whenever I look at Ripple's chart, it makes me reconsider that statement. But yeah, if you just want to go by the book with traditional TA, that's what I'd say about that. All right, we got Abigail Jennings. Abigail says, hey, Krown, could you please check PEP, Pepcoin? All right, Pepcoin. Pepcoin for my peps. That's PP, whoops. Pep, there we go. Constitution DAO, or is it this? No, that's PP. I think it's this. Okay, there's really not much of a chart here. If it's this, obviously bad, but I'm guessing it's probably not because that's like so obviously disgusting. Maybe it's this. No, that's PP. That's PP coin. Pep. Where's my peps? Small peepee token. I could use that. Yeah, if I guess this is the only chart that shows up, and if this is it, then this is absolutely fucking atrocious. It's like all of the other shit coins that are never gonna materialize an actual uptrend. They might get pops here and there. If this thing does get a pop, like 3150 is the number I'd be looking for, I guess. But you're better off betting on downside on shit like this, assuming that this is the right one, or at least that's my opinion. Anyways, Imara says, good morning, Krown. Could you please take a look at WAL USD? Sure. WAL. Okay. This is a crypto. Okay. It's Walrus token. All right. There's Walrus. And then we also have Fat Ass token as well. It's way too new, man. There's no analysis to be done on something that's literally like 2 weeks fucking old, man. If I had to call it, probably comes down a little bit here to like 45, 46 cents, but I wouldn't trust any analysis on something like this. Let's see. Reality Void says, I've yet to see anyone mention when the halving occurred, Bitcoin price already above the previous cycle's top. Every cycle previously, the halving price was below the previous cycle's top. Thoughts? You probably haven't been too much on social media because that was a big topic around the time that it happened. But sir, that happened over a year ago now, or around a year ago now. So we don't really talk about it no more. What's my thought about that? So I guess the question really comes down to, is the 4-year cycle breaking? Because that was previously a not pretty consistent. It was a 100% consistent feature of all prior cycles that we would not see price action above, the prior high before that date happened. And in this case, we did see that. So is this cycle, on at light speed right now, and maybe that means it's going to end sooner. Maybe, I don't know, but I really don't know, to be honest with you. And I won't know until this cycle is done, and that's okay. That's okay with me. I really don't know on that one, ma'am. Anyways, giving Trump far too much credit, Krown. Love you though. Like what? Where do you guys fucking come up with this shit? If that's your opinion of giving him too much credit, I mean, I fear to wonder what an accurate assessment would be by your metrics. Let's see. Matthias says IP USDT. Sure. IP USDT. Okay. Let's go here. Storycoin. Yeah, story's fucking over, man. It's bad. It's really bad. Okay, this is a 4-hour time frame, so hasn't been around for that long, so you probably don't want to get too exuberantly bearish on something like this that really has a lack of history, but I'll tell you what you already know. It's a downtrend. I have to be looking lower, man. I think that if this thing got a bounce up to like 460, that would be a gift from God, and I think that you come down after that. Yeah. The only thing that it has going for it is that it's relatively new from middle of February. So I guess if the cycle does turn around, then maybe this thing could be okay. But I wouldn't be looking for this thing to go up on its own, man. That's for sure. Yeah. Ooh, man. Highly unprofessional. Story. The end. That's all she wrote. There's a lot in this story about going down. What's that all about? Let's see. Second drive of bearish divergence on XRP weekly chart. I don't think it can have bearish divergence because it's not in an uptrend. You're talking about this high right here. There is a phantom drive on Caretaker's RSI, but that has already played out, man. I mean, that fired off when this thing was trading at almost $3. It's down 33% right now. I have to say, I think if you are waiting for that, you're late to the game, sir. I'm not saying that it can't break down, but if you're going off of that signal, I think it's safe to say that one's played out. Like 30% move is good. That's fine. What's up, Cornish? I know indeed you are Sir OG. I know that I know all of the OGs. I remember all of the OGs for sure. It's good to see. It's good to see you still around, sir. Super Sound says, Krown, perhaps we need Super Swanee for some long-term advice. Actually, he's going to be coming on today, and I'll post a video likely tomorrow with Swanee. I'm curious to see what he has to say myself. To be honest with you, I really don't know what he's going to say today, but we'll find out, or at least I'll find out relatively soon, and then you'll find out tomorrow. So cool. That burp had good acoustics, bro. Nice. My farts are like music. If Ethereum fails to make a new all-time high this cycle, does it guarantee it won't make a new high? If we're going off of if we're going off of what that means for other altcoins that have done the same thing, like not make a new high in the next subsequent cycle, then I'd say, yeah, there's a very high probability of that. But who knows? Maybe the cycle isn't over. Maybe it's a prolonged cycle and not a short cycle. These questions we don't have the answer to right now. So yeah. The only thing that I can pull off of the top of my head that did not make a new all-time high from one cycle to the next cycle, but did make a new all-time high after that is XRP. And that's kind of a special case, but Ethereum could be special as well, I suppose. I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but yeah, if you're going off of what that typically means for altcoins, then you're better off on betting against that. Yeah. I mean, that is what it is. Anyways, are we not discussing that the overall crypto market wasn't affected more or less by the tariff news while the stock market did? No, you're just here late and making assumptions because you're arrogant. Kidding, man. Kidding, but it's a little bit true. And to be honest, and to repeat the point, I think it's way too fucking premature to be saying, holy shit, for one day, traditional markets made new lows and Bitcoin didn't. We've seen this happen many times in the past, and well, saying that they've decoupled has always been the wrong assessment. So I would say it's not impossible, but it's certainly very much unproven to me as of right now. So yeah. Yarbuck says, ever since Ethereum went proof of stake, it has killed the demand. You don't need Ethereum to transact unless it's on a decentralized exchange. All the decentralized trading this cycle was driven on Solana. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, maybe Solana just replaces Ethereum. Possible. I mean, I'm open to these things. It's not like I've fallen in love with Ethereum or Solana for that matter, but yeah, this time is different for sure. Yes. Yeah. For me, I do have to favor that the relationship will continue until proven otherwise. When we see a weekly uptrend in traditional markets and a weekly downtrend in Bitcoin or vice versa, okay, at that point I will, I'll say, yeah, I capitulate. The markets have decoupled, but until that happens consistently, I've heard this so many fucking times over the past 7 years. It's never materialized. It is what it is, man. Kind Beard Man, please one more for me. JTO. All right, we can do JTO really quickly. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll probably call it a day. GTO, bad and down. Down bad, bad down. If it has a short-term bounce, a little over $2 is fine, but I don't think that you are reversing here. This thing's very, very bearish as long as you're below 235. I would generally be looking for this thing to retest around your 2024 lows, maybe make new lows. It is a downtrend after all, and it doesn't really know what an uptrend is. It doesn't even know. It's never had one. Yeah. Until it can reclaim about 235, I would treat this one as a very bearish asset with general downside, with bounces along the way, of course. Everything bounces, but don't think those bounces mean much. I'm tired of winning. I'm very tired as well. We should say thank you at least once. Let's see what Twitter's got going on. Krown, I want to thank you for the lives. I miss it since the Chicago days. Yeah, man. Soon we'll be going, not soon, but in the next year we'll be going back to America, and I'll be setting up a base there. So I think that'll help with a lot of the American people, which is most people watching this content. Get back on the lives, because those were really fun times, man. When I look back on it, like that was legitimately really fucking fun. So I'm looking to bring that back, honestly. Let's see. Heath Burns wants to look at XCN. Okay. Onyx Coin. All right. What the fuck? Oh yeah, it's one of these. Yeah, just another absolute piece of shit. You know, every once in a while these things get bounces and pretty epic bounces, like you see right here, but they always fail. So the game that you're playing is a game of chance and a game of luck, in kind of assuming that it's going to do one of these again, which maybe it does. But you know, look how long it took last time before it materialized that rally. This took multiple years, 2 years of basically doing fuck all. I'm more inclined to say that this thing is going to, you might see another short-term bounce here. I don't think it's going to reverse. I would treat this one as heavily bearish as long as it's below 1 cent. I honestly think it's gonna undo this whole rally that you saw from January, the 2-week rally. This is like classic shitcoin stuff. One rally over here, down for forever. Another rally over here for a couple weeks, down for forever again. Typically how those things work out. Anyways, Krown, do you agree everything was overpriced until recent dumps and more dumped to poop? I mean, was everything overpriced? Yeah. I mean, it's no secret that the valuations in crypto in general have been like really fucking crazy, especially in recent times. So, you know, was it overvalued by the sheer nature of it? I don't know. I mean, do you think that Pepcoin should have a multi-billion-dollar market cap? Do you think Fartcoin should be a $1 billion market cap? Maybe not. Maybe not. So yeah, man. Let's see what else we got. I feel like there is one more here that maybe I missed. WMT for Blake Austin. All right, WMT. This is Walmart. Yes. It's like I knew it, but I didn't know it. I think that you're seeing like a major monthly swing top here, man. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think maybe over the next year or so, you're going to see this thing come down closer to $80 even, somewhere between like $75 to $80. And I think that would be a good place for a low. But this thing has a lot of markings of a major top. I mean, shit, you have the most egregious reads on bearish divergence here on the monthly RSI, monthly time frame, alongside the most extreme levels of volatility you've ever seen on this thing for the longest time as well. I mean, that has great potential to be like not just a swing high, but a major high. And I do think that this one will move down. I don't know what time frames you're on. I mean, again, in the short term, does it have bounces in between? Probably. It's going to be bounces along the way, but long term, I do think that this one does come lower. Here's your quarterly time frame as well. Not as bad, to be fair, but still, I do think that this one comes closer to $80 before it tries another upside move. So yeah. Stavros Green says, I think we got an easy long till 86 to 86 and a half here. Let's see. Let's go down to the lower term timeframes. You kind of have a weird thing going on. You do have a slightly higher low. You do have a bit of a short term reversal. Yes. Do I think that you can move up to 86? I guess I'd be a little bit lower than that personally, somewhere around like 85, maybe closer to 85. The problem is that a short-term rally doesn't really change the daily trend or anything like this. If Bitcoin can reclaim just Wednesday's high, that would look really, really good to me. And obviously at that point, like you're well past $86,000, but I think you'd be moving much higher after that, to be honest. Until that happens, so you know, this area right here is kind of fraught with peril, like because that anywhere in here is where you'd be expecting another rejection before maybe one last downside try. So yeah. All right. The Supra says Litecoin USDT weekly. All right, let's check this one out. I'm sure it's going to be doing absolutely phenomenal as well. I mean, it's coming off of, again, major moving averages here. It's very difficult for me to be bearish coming into regions like this because, you know, more often than not, they're just going to bounce there. And, you know, if it is going to put in a low, these are great areas for it. You do have bullish divergence on the daily RSI, which will be confirmed if this thing can pop back up and close above yesterday's high. If it can do that, I'd be looking for probably a quick rally closer to like $90, $92, something like this. But I wouldn't call this one bullish, or I wouldn't call this one a reversal until it's actually closing above $96.50. So, you know, I think a lot of these things are setting up for short-term rallies, but I would be cognizant that, you know, you're still within a downtrend as long as that condition is met. I'm not saying that it's impossible for it to reverse. Of course, anything is possible. Just when the trend is in motion, you're better off betting in the same direction as a trend. Of course, trends all end at some point in time, except for those super shit coins, which just go down. But yeah, I'm looking for something obvious here. Yeah, if it does bounce up somewhere around low 90s is fine. I think best case scenario it'll do 95, but I have to be very bearish on this thing as long as you're below. Sorry, not 95, but 96 and a half. 96 and a half is my line in the sand for this thing. So could have a decent rally before then, but hard one to love, especially on the higher term timeframes, man. Here was your monthly, here's your quarterly. Like, Nice one. The coffee's coming up right now. Jonathan Cross says, many years ago, your streams used to include a lot of blue boxes. I miss those. Have you been able to determine if your current, more statistical approach philosophy is more successful overall? Yeah, it is more successful overall, simply because I can automate it and I don't actually have to manually trade based off of the boxes, which have obviously a degree of discretionary use. Like you can't, what's it called? You can't code that in. But if you really want to bring back the blue boxes, I can do that. That's fine as well. It's not say that they're not useful or anything like this. It's just basic support and resistance. But yeah, right now I favor most more than anything else trend. All right, we'll do one last one for D Visible. He says, nice name. Hey, Krown, would you please take a wild look at Wild on Binance? Okay. The hourly and 30-minute time frame. Okay. So very low term time frames for symbol WLD. Okay. Worldcoin. WorldStar. Okay. So that's not a helpful chart. Maybe there's Binance. All right. Well, at least we have a chart here. Pretty bad. But you're on the very low term time frame, so maybe that's not relevant to you. 30-minute time frame, you're kind of at the area that you'd be expecting a bit of a rejection if it is going to continue to the downside. Right around 76 and a half cents. What other time frame? Hourly. Let's go to the hourly. If it can actually break and close an hourly above 76 and a half cent, I do think that this thing could have a decent extension of this rally towards maybe 80 cents or so. But it's just hard to bet on upside on something that looks like this. This is fucking awful. So it's like, are you going to go down from here, or are you going to have a pop up first and then come down? Either which way, the long term is down, but that's probably not relevant to you for the long term because you're on such low time frames. So I would be going off of this pivot right here, 76 and a half cents. Nice one. All right. Bless you. Thank you, Stavros. Appreciate it, man. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this live stream. It's been a nice pleasure as well. Bitcoin having a bit of a short-term rally here, so we'll see what happens. Can Bitcoin reclaim one of the critical regions, namely the Wednesday high? I guess we'll find out today. If Bitcoin can, then you're gonna hear me kind of have a bit of a different tune. Favoring this as a major low overall, but until that happens, I still personally would be expressing a bit of caution with this. So, yeah, that's what we'll end it for today. As always, I want to wish everyone the best. Take care.